How to make him miss you in 3 days. The hidden secret behind making him miss you in 3 days. Most women think making a man miss you is about waiting longer to reply, posting the perfect photo, or acting colder than they actually feel. That is not the secret. The real reason he may not miss you has something to do with emotional certainty. If someone knows your attention is always available, your comfort is always ready, your forgiveness has no limit, and your energy keeps returning no matter what happens, there is no emotional space for absence to do its work. Read that again. People rarely feel the weight of losing access to something they believe will never leave. And this is where many women get trapped. They try harder. They explain more. They love louder. They stay emotionally present even when they decide to pull away. But the next 3 days are not about punishing him. They are about exposing a truth. Does he actually miss you? Or has he simply grown comfortable with your constant presence? Because what you are about to learn is not a manipulation trick. It is a shift in emotional dynamics that can completely change how you see attraction, attachment, and your own value. And the first mistake most people make is invisible. Stop feeding his certainty. You do not make someone miss you by becoming a better entertainer in their life. You make space for longing when you stop feeding emotional certainty without receiving emotional investment. Think about it. If he already knows you will text first, check on him, reopen conversations, calm the tension, and keep the emotional connection alive. What exactly is forcing him to feel your absence? Nothing. Because emotionally, you never left. This is not about playing games. It is about recognizing a pattern that slowly destroys attraction without anyone noticing. Constant availability can feel like love when you are inside it. But from the outside, it can become predictability. And predictability often kills emotional curiosity. The hard truth: he does not start missing your messages first. He starts missing the emotional comfort, attention, warmth, and reassurance he assumed would always be there. That is why the next shift matters more than silence itself. Because the hardest part of these 3 days may not be his reaction. It may be what happens inside you when the cycle finally breaks. The 3-day reset nobody talks about. The hardest part about making him miss you is not staying silent. The hardest part is facing what silence reveals inside you. When the phone gets quiet, when there is no notification, no random message, no small sign of attention, something uncomfortable begins to surface. Anxiety, urgency, the need to check, the impulse to reach out just this once. That is why these 3 days matter. Not because they magically make someone obsessed with you, because they interrupt a hidden emotional habit. Many relationships are not running on deep connection. They are running on emotional routine. A text here, validation there, just enough attention to keep the cycle alive. The 3-day reset breaks that pattern, and suddenly, the real question appears. Was there genuine emotional investment, or only convenient access? But be honest with yourself. While you are waiting to see if he misses you, are you secretly realizing how much your own emotional state depended on his attention? That realization changes everything. Because the next step is not about absence. It is about identity. Your absence changes nothing, if your identity stays the same. Many women disappear physically but stay emotionally available every second of the day. They stop texting, but keep checking his profile. They go silent, but replay old conversations in their head. They pull away, but their entire emotional world still revolves around one question. Is he thinking about me? That is not detachment. That is invisible attachment wearing a different outfit. Here is the truth nobody wants to hear. Your absence becomes powerful when your energy genuinely moves away from chasing validation. When your attention returns to your own life, your goals, your peace, your confidence, something shifts. You stop monitoring. You stop performing. You stop building your worth around someone else's response time. And people notice that change. Not because you became colder, because you became harder to emotionally predict. That creates a different kind of gravity. But this is where things become uncomfortable. Because once your identity stops orbiting around him, another question appears. Do you actually miss him? Or do you miss the feeling of being emotionally occupied by someone? That question can change the entire story. The silent test. You didn't know you were taking. You think these 3 days are testing him. They are not. They are testing you. Because when you stop reaching out, stop chasing reassurance, stop keeping the connection alive with your own effort, something hidden starts coming to the surface. Fear. Not only the fear of losing him, the fear of sitting with yourself without distraction. That is why so many people break silence too early. Not because they suddenly have something important to say, because the quiet becomes uncomfortable. It forces you to ask questions you were avoiding. Do you want him, or do you want relief from loneliness? Are you fighting for a real connection, or fighting to avoid rejection? Do you miss who he truly is, or do you miss the version of him you hoped he would become? These questions matter, because emotional clarity changes your standards. And when your standards change, your behavior changes with them. Suddenly, the goal is no longer making someone miss you at any cost. The goal becomes understanding who actually deserves access to your energy. And that leads to the most important shift of all. The bigger question nobody asks. At some point, you stop asking, how do I make him miss me? And you start asking something far more powerful. What kind of connection deserves access to me? That question changes everything. Because when you are obsessed with being missed, you give away your center. Your mood depends on his message. Your confidence depends on his attention. Your value rises and falls with his behavior. That is emotional surrender. But when you begin to understand your own worth, attraction stops being a desperate strategy. It becomes discernment. You stop chasing proof that you matter. You start observing effort, consistency, emotional maturity, and genuine intention. And here is the irony. The moment you stop organizing your life around making someone miss you, you often become more unforgettable. Not because you mastered a technique, because your energy changed. You are no longer begging to be chosen. You are choosing. And that is the hidden secret behind these 3 days. They were never only about making him miss you. They were about helping you remember yourself.